So welcome to Sri Atmananda Krishna Menon scripture, Atma Darshan. Atmananda Krishna Menon had a very unique way. He took the spiritual seeker to the truth by the direct method. Direct method means by the spiritual seeker's own direct seeing, direct experiencing, not through intellectualization, not through just verbalization, not through memorization of scriptures, not through memorization of the shlokas of the scripture. Why? He said that this is the ultimate truth. This is the supreme truth. Atma Darshan is therefore not for the beginner of Advaita Vedanta. That is not because Atmananda didn't want to give it for the beginner. It is just that the audience that came to Atmananda had already been on the path for a while. So it is meant for someone who has traveled the inward path from the world to this physical body, from the physical body to the mind, from the mind to the intellect, from the intellect to the memory, to the ego, and finally reach the witness. This is still not the complete inward journey. He says, if you see that all this from the world all the way to the witness is one, is not two, is Satchidananda, then you are ready for Atma Darshan. Do you see this? Have you completed your inward journey that you see this now as just one single vichara, one single waking thought? The single waking thought has many moving parts in it. Initially, the moving parts of the waking thought distracted you. But now you are so established in this truth of oneness that these moving parts do not distract anymore. This is the meaning of recognizing the oneness. If the moving parts of the single waking thought distract me, what will happen? I will again slip to the person, right? And I'll get stuck in this world, and then the war between I versus the world begins. So I am not established in oneness. Correct? Yeah. Atma Darshan is for those who are done with this slipping, and have learnt. Oh, it is all one. It is all one. It is all one. So, question for you. Have you completed your inward journey and reached the point where you become eligible for Atma Darshan? That is point number 1 for today's self-contemplation. Number 2, when one is established here in this oneness, in this not two, in this Satchidananda, when one is established here for a while, he becomes ripe enough to take the outward journey. Yeah. What is the outward journey? Again, from the recognition that all is one. Now I courageously step out to this body-mind person that used to be the cause of my slippage. I courageously step into being the person and at the same time recognizing the oneness of it all. So the person, the body-mind person, now gets colored by the pure consciousness. the body-mind person no more tries to fool me. It cannot fool me anymore. Yes? So it is the outward journey now. I am ready for this outward journey only if I do not get distracted by the moving parts of the single waking thought. So, contemplation number 2. Am I ready for the outward journey? The outward journey is called Jagat Mithya. The world as I conceive of it is an illusion. We have already completed the inward journey, Brahman Satyam. Consciousness is the only truth, was the inward journey. We have completed that. Now we start our outward journey. So to give you a glimpse of where Atmananda is taking us, we will do a very short self-inquiry. This self-inquiry will provide only a teeny tiny glimpse of the final destination of Atma Darshan. Just a teeny tiny glimpse. Now when a sincere spiritual seeker is provided the to address on the GPS, the GPS coordinates of the destination, the to address, it gives him a sense of direction. He knows where he is going. It helps him develop self-conviction in the final address, the destination address. That is why right at the beginning, we will attempt to see if we have a teeny tiny glimpse of the final destination. Without the final destination, there are chances of the spiritual seeker going off track. Do you see that? When you don't have the address to a particular destination where you want to go, you can keep going right, left, or maybe this is the way, or maybe this is the way. But if you have the address on the GPS, there is no question of a wrong turn. Yes, you will keep on the right track. So ready for the self-inquiry? Now, please remember, Atmananda Krishna Menon starts Atma Darshan from the level of Sat Chit Ananda. So, we have to always remember to begin every chapter, every shloka from this correct vantage point. Sat is beingness, that same oneness that I see in the world, in the person, in the witness of the person and the pure consciousness. Oh, that oneness. That is the beingness. It is called the supreme being. It is one whole. It is the totality. It does not have individual moving parts. The so-called individual moving parts are only illusory appearances, like magic. They appear to be different, separate, standing apart from that single waking thought, but they are not. This is the meaning of Sat, the beingness, the supreme being. Chid means this beingness is conscious, is alive, is not a dead nothingness. It knows itself. That is the meaning of Chid, knowingness. And just the quality of the supreme being, of knowing itself, of being itself, is equanimous bliss, Ananda. When a seeker gets a taste of the beingness, the Sat, the higher truth, it is automatically revealed to him that it is Chid, that it is conscious awareness. The seeing of Chid endows him with the taste of that straight line of equanimity. It's a sense of relief because it is devoid of the updraft of happiness or the downdraft of sadness. So Atma Darshan is for the one who has a strong glimpse of Satchidananda. So let's attempt to recognize in the self-inquiry words the delicious flavor of Satchidananda. Atmananda says this deliciousness is there in the Jagat, because Jagat is not separate from the Supreme Being. The world is not separate from the Supreme Being. It is the Supreme Being. You have noticed these glimpses in the world itself, in the Jagat itself, and you have brushed it under the carpet. So today what we will do? We will attempt to recognize those few glimpses that I've definitely had. Can I bring back that deliciousness? Can I start recognizing that this Jagat is mithya, that this world is an illusion from my own experience, from my own glimpse? You get it? We begin with direct experience, my own personal direct experience. Ready? So let's sit comfortably, let's close our eyes, let's get ready for the self-inquiry. You don't need your spectacles for the self-inquiry. Remove your spectacles, sit comfortably, close your eyes. Let's do a self-exploration meditation on the deeper seeing of Satchidananda in the Jagat. I am not, yet I am. Observe the perceptions of sight, sound, smell, taste, or touch called the world. Simply observe the touch of the body to the chair that you are sitting on. You are the observer, and the perception of touch of whatever the object is. That is the observed. Notice the duality of the observer and the observed. Observe the sensations called the body. Notice the duality of the observer and the observed. Observe the thoughts called the mind. Notice the duality of the observer and the observed. Observe the feelings called the mind. Notice the duality of the observer and the observed. Turn towards the observed. Now turn 180 degrees in the opposite direction towards the observer. This simply means instead of focusing on the moving parts, I focus on the totality. If you still can't see the totality, attempt to see that the observer and the observed are both superficial waves. Now dive deeper into the substance that the wave is made up of and hold on to that. That is totality. Attempt to see the totality What is the observer made of? What is the observed made of? Aren't they made of the same one substance? Abide in and as the substance. The complete inward abiding is the crux of the Jagat Mithya journey. Even if there are moving parts externally trying to distract you, being able to abide in the substance that those moving parts are made up of is the crux of the Jagat Mithya journey. Abide here. Here, the observer and the observed are one. Recognize that this is beyond thought. You have stepped beyond thought. So it is possible for you to contemplate that which is beyond thought, because you are that. Consciousness knows consciousness. Not in words. Consciousness can contemplate consciousness indirectly, without words. Marinate in the deliciousness of beingness. This deliciousness is indescribable. It is beyond time. Yet, this deliciousness is reflected in the Jagat, in the world. Because there is no two. We have all had the glimpses of this deliciousness in the Jagat. Let's attempt to recap a few Jagat glimpses. So from the position of Satchidananda, courageously move towards Jagat, holding on to this deliciousness of oneness. Bring up a memory when you were looking out from the window of a train. The train was moving fast. Looking out the train window, the world appears to be moving backwards, while the observer is seemingly still and immovable. Is there motion happening, or is there stillness? Or is it a case of dynamic stillness, dynamic tranquility? Could that glimpse of dynamic stillness be the supreme truth? In the twilight between night and day, there seems to be the advent of light and a departure of darkness. Bring up a memory of twilight. In the twilight between night and day, there seems to be the arrival of light and departure of darkness. Is there light or is there darkness? Or is it a case of darkness full of light? Bring up a memory when you had accumulated a lot of spiritual knowledge, lot of spiritual books, lot of spiritual talks. Remember how the intellect became pompous. The accumulation of knowledge strengthens the realization that I know very little. A knock from inside told you, I know very little. Is there knowledge or is there ignorance? Or is it simply a case of knowledge beyond ignorance? Bring up the memory of a conversation where you forgot something while speaking. In the middle of a conversation, a forgetfulness ensues, where there seems to be nothingness. Yet, soon enough, somethingness arises from it. Is there something, or is there nothing? Or is it simply a case of the nothingness of something? Now bring up a memory when the ego was hurt. The sense of being someone is ignorance. The humility of being nobody is wisdom. Somebody is always battling with nobody. Is there a somebody, or is there a nobody? Or is it simply the case of the nobodiness of somebody? Bring up a memory of your Swapna Nidra Nyan Sadhana, the practice of the wisdom of dream and sleep. The waking knowledge fades away into dream knowledge. Dream knowledge metamorphoses into ignorant sleep. Are these three states full of ignorance? Or is it all simply a deep sleep state devoid of ignorance? In the transition between dreaming and waking, there is a recognition of isness. This isness disappears in the transition between dreaming and deep sleep. Is it or is it not? Or is it simply a case of it is not, yet it is? In the twilight between sleep and waking, there seems to be an I am not. Yet, very soon, the I arises from it. Is there an I? Or is there no I? Or is it simply a case of I am not, yet I am? The Jagat is full of glimpses, the glimpses of Satchidananda. The wise one catches these glimpses. Is it death or is it life? Or is it simply a case of deathless lifelessness? Is there action or is there no action? Or is it a case of active inertia? Is there thought or is there no thought? Or is it a case of thoughtless clarity? Is it a case of thoughtless illumination? Is it or is it not? Or is it simply a case of it is not, yet it is? Is there an I? Or is there no I? Or is it simply a case of I am not, yet I am? I am not, yet I am. I am not, yet I am. And when you feel complete, very slowly and gradually, you may open your eyes. Did you identify a few Jagat glimpses? I am not, yet I am. It is not, yet it is. If you get this, then you understand the meaning of truth is contradictory. The supreme truth is contradictory. Right? Because the totality encompasses both the opposites. I am not. It is not. Do you see that? Then only it is total, whole, complete. So this was a tiny glimpse, teeny tiny glimpse where Atma Darshan is taking us. It's completely different from the inward journey. Yeah? It is again and again stepping out from that recognition of the delicious nothingness, courageously stepping into the person, into the world, and attempting to see the same deliciousness. Yeah? We do it so many times, repeatedly in Atma Darshan, that it becomes very clear there is no two. There never was. From the beginning, there was never a two. There was never an I and a world. No, no, no. All lies, all illusion. Jagat Mithya becomes very clear in your direct seeing, not intellectual understanding. In your direct seeing of the truth.